During this video, we're going to talk about setting up your gradebook. You'll find grade setup in the left-hand menu of your Schoology course. And I'm going to start right at the top. You'll see here we have categories. These are grading categories. So you can assign a grading category to particular activities within your Schoology course. And then you'll be able to filter your grade book using those categories. Also, if you wish to weight categories, it's good to know that which are how you're going to weight your assessments as opposed to assignments and discussions and homework. If I want to, I can, change this and have it weighted differently. And then, however I want to do that. If you have an enterprise version of Schoology and you are linked to your student management system and your student gradebook, then this information may already be determined for you, and you may have to set it up a certain way in order for those two systems to sync. So just keep that in mind. If I want to add a category, I simply click on Add. And I can say by points or percentage. I can have it drop the lowest 0 if I want, and then create that. So I said 0. I don't want it to drop any of the lowest. I could say drop one of the lowest, so forth like that. One thing to keep in mind, it's really a good idea and a best practice to, at the beginning of the term, set up your gradebook for your course so that you have it all laid out. You can add grading categories on the fly, so to speak, as you're creating assignments, discussions, and so forth. So don't worry if you don't do that, but it's just kind of a best practice. Also, I have rubrics that I can create. I click on rubrics and it will show any that I have already created, and I can add new ones as I see fit to go along with different activities that I'm doing in my Schoology course. I can look at the grading periods. Your grading periods, again, if you're in an enterprise version and things are being brought in by your student management system, these may already be determined by your district, but I can add or edit these as I see fit to go along with my what I'm envisioning for my course, and I can change the weight of those as well. I can change how my grade book is set and how grades are calculated. I tend to leave these as they're defaulted. I really think how it's set up is fine. And I do like that my students can see their grades and their grade report at any time. So I've made a change. I've added a project category. So I'm going to have to make sure I select Save Changes. And that is all set. I do want to show you what it looks like grading wise. So I'm going to go to my materials. I'm going to scroll down till I get to where I know students have submitted something. So I'm in the assignment, and this is where I can see what needs to be graded. And as students submit it, it will populate here. If I've added due dates, it will tell me if it's late. I have added completion rules to this, so there are no due dates, but I do know I need to grade the student's work, and I'll come in and I'll be able to see the student's assignment. Now, keep in mind, if I want to mark up this assignment, I have these tools built right into the Schoology environment. So I can select text, I can highlight text, I can cross out text, I can add a sticky note, I can use the pen feature. So I have all those built right into my Schoology course. I can give the student a grade, and then I can also leave a comment. This is a private comment that will show up if I select this box to the student in their grade book. If I add a comment here, they will need to come to this assignment to see this comment. So I would grade the assignment, the student will see that it's graded, and then they'll click on it. They can see if there's anything they need to do. Like if I wanted the student to resubmit, I could add some notes and give them some guidance within here, maybe reattach the directions, however you want to do that. And once I post it, it's tied to the assignment within here. So I'm going to quickly exit out of this, and I want to show you the student point of view. So you'll see that I have graded some items, and that particular activity is called activity fractions. And because when I graded it, I added that the student could see my comment in that little grade area. It shows up right here, and you'll see I've done that before. If the student just wants a quick look at the assignment, they can click on this icon here or the text, and it will bring them right to that assignment, and they can see what I've written here as well. So we can have an ongoing discussion within the assignment if I needed to. I could also, as a student, upload a second submission and a new draft, and then that way I can continue to improve my practice. So that's just one way to look at the student point of view. I'm going to go back into the gradebook so you can see that again. It will show up right within here for them. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to find a discussion to show you what it looks like to grade a discussion. You'll see that there is a submission here. I can see that. So I'm going to select this discussion. So you'll see I do have a student has submitted a reply to a discussion. And in order to grade that, you'll see you have a little piece of paper with a pencil, and I can simply put a grade here and a comment. Now, again, I'll have to select show to student for it to show up in the grade book. One thing to think about, providing good feedback for your students. So good ideas is probably not the best feedback, but I could add, I like how you highlighted how this relates to real life and things like that. So, just thinking about your feedback, I'm trying to save time by doing quick feedback so you can see that. So once I submit it, I see a check mark. So I know I've graded that student. I also can highlight different users of students who have submitted. So test student hasn't submitted yet, but I could see if through all the submitted users, I could move through them and see how they reply to each other. So if this student replied to other students, I would be able to see that as well. That's some of the ways that we can look at the different grading. I'm going to show you an assessment really quickly. So I'm in the assessment as a teacher, and I'm in the grading, and I can see, I'm going to click by student. I could go by question or by student. I can see that this great student has submitted. Because I did a multiple choice, it automatically grades it. But if I had added a short response, I'd have to come in here and I'd be able to click on the student's response or go by questions and look at how the students responded and grade them individually. And then that would be added to the grade of any of the questions that were automatically graded. So it really does work for you that way. So if you're going to have multiple choice, true, false questions like that, that have definite answers, I can easily let Schoology do all the grading. But if I add anything that is providing a short response, a long response, things like that, I would have to go in and grade those individual students. I'm going to go back to my course and show you my grade book, and you'll see that I can view my students' grades. I can look at different members. I have created groups, so I could look at group members as well. This is my grading period. So I have second period and sandbox, or I could look at all grading periods. I can look at the materials. So this is where your grading categories come into play. So I could look at just discussions and see the grades just for discussions. And I could look at due dates and things like that. So you can manipulate your grade book. If I wanted to, I could look at the students' work right through my grade book. I wouldn't even have to go into the assignment. So that's not a bad idea either. And then if you'll see here, this is the discussion from the sandbox grading period, and I could add a grade here. I could see the discussion by hovering over this and clicking on it to view the discussion. I could make a comment, and I can flag as excused, incomplete, or missing. Excused means it will not filter into their grading average. And that is it about setting up grade categories and looking at how it works for yourself as a facilitator of learning and for student point of view.